We're Martin and Hazel Frost. We work in a small town of 60,000 people in San Francisco, which is in the middle of Argentina.
We're working with a small church called La Gloria de Dios, which means the glory of God, and we're preaching and teaching and participating in the church there. And we're also involved in a whole bunch of other stuff in the community. I'm working with people with disabilities in a riding school as a special needs teacher. And we're also working with a homework club in a difficult neighbourhood, an impoverished neighbourhood on one side of the city. And I'm working with scouts in another impoverished neighbourhood on the other side of the city. We also have used our home very much for ministry. We've had a whole bunch of different people who've lived in our house at different times over the years because they've been care leavers. A couple of times they've been prisoners, leaving prison. Most recently we've been working with a couple of young women who've been leaving the care system in Argentina, who've lived with us for a few years. Yeah, we have had the two young women who came to us from the care system. One of them was 15 and the other one was 19 when they arrived. They both lived with us for a few years. And one of the things in the care system in Argentina, as it is I think in England to some extent, is that there's very little support for care leavers. So you've been through the system, you've got what you've got, and now you're out on your own in the big wide world. And the girls that we've had very few life skills, not great ability to develop any sort of life for themselves leaving. So living with us for those few years, it's enabled them to put some skills together, put a CV together, think about what it would mean to have a job, to live in the world, to be able to live a life. And one of the things that we were told is that of their cohort of those girls that were in the hostel at that time, those are the only two who are actually making it now in the world, in terms of neither of them are in prison, neither of them are addicted to anything, neither of them are in an abusive relationship, neither of them are in a psychiatric facility, they still have issues, but they're in a process, they're on a journey, and the hope is they'll continue in that process.
I do get a sense of belonging and very much a sense of being understood where I am at the moment and of being supported. So I feel if I did have a crisis of some description, there are people at the end of the phone I can phone up at any time and speak to. So a general feeling of belonging and support would be the things for me. Being part of a team, I put together the team prayer calendar, and so every month I have to send a little message out to everybody, and I get little messages back about what's going on for everybody and who's doing what, and I really enjoy that. Just gives me kind of a little snapshot of kind of how we are relating to each other and part of each other's ministry. Well, before I was a missionary, I was actually a programmer, and I worked for a number of software houses and large banks in London. And I'm looking now, being very aware that there are a number of needs out there in the mission community and the Christian community where people need to get things done more efficiently and in a less error-prone way. So I'm looking now to find opportunities to use those skills to kind of solve a few issues and problems within those communities.
One of the things I'm thinking about and praying about is that our church, or a couple of families from our church, have opened a little house group in a neighbourhood called Acapulco on the other side of San Francisco. It's quite a challenging neighbourhood. It's the only neighbourhood that could possibly be described as dangerous in the city. It's where the shootouts happen and standoffs with the police and that kind of thing. And this little house group out there, one of the things that I'm thinking about and praying about is how we can develop that to have more of a presence in that community and to be part of what's going on there.